Hello, everyone. My name is Nelson,
And I'm Nikki.
and this is Button Mash Murders Episode 4. Get out of here, Al Capone. You're done. Go enjoy your syphilis. You're out of here. We're
Yeah,
gonna move on. We've moved on from you.
that's it. We're done. R.I.P. Al Capone.
So do you want to give us a last time on BMM?
Yeah,
Should we do that? BMM?
BMM.
Yeah, Button Mash Murders.
We could play around with it.
We'll let the fans decide.
Yeah,
We'll let the fans decide how to shorten the name.
we'll play it loose.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are reading from the book American Demon, Elliot Ness, and the Hunt for America's Jack the Ripper by Danielle Stashower. And the story that we are talking about is Duel. It is Elliot Ness. He's the guy that brought down Al Capone, which we just finished in last episode, and how he intersects with America's version of Jack the Ripper. And this was in the 1930s in Cleveland. All right,
Ready.
we're ready. If you can believe it, we're only into chapter 3.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, at least he didn't skip out on the details.
No. There's a lot of details. Actually, you know what? Let me just flip to the back here. He is a New York Times bestselling author, and he has appeared in the New York Times, the Washington Post, Smithsonian, National Geographic, and his books include The Hour of Peril, Teller of Tales, and The Beautiful Cigar Girl.
Beautiful cigar girl.
Yeah,
Interesting.
she sold cigars,
Down by the seashore.
and she was beautiful. Okay, so last chapter was, I guess you could say, a little more fun as opposed to the beginning, which was kind of gory. Because we had gangsters, we had crime, detectives, but now we're getting into a pretty gruesome chapter. I'm going to try to cut out like some of the descriptors that are true but probably not necessary. But it's pretty rough. Um, so I mean, I'm not quite sure what trigger warnings I would put, but there's some mutilation that occurs in um, this chapter. So
We'll
just
just
be
say if
forewarned.
you're watching or listening to something about murders, that might be the trigger warning to begin with, I
Yeah,
would think.
but dang, this is a little extra. It's extra.
Extra.
It's
Okay.
extra. So just be forewarned. And I wouldn't listen to this out. Put earbuds in if you got kids around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't know.
that's
I'm
a
a
good
mom. I
idea.
didn't even plan that, but I'm like, you know what? I'm just letting you know. Put some earbuds in. Okay. Without further ado. Without further ado, Jackass Hill.
What?
That's the name of the chapter.
Jackass Hill.
Jackass Hill.
Th-
It is really
This
Jackass
guy
Hill.
looks like he's from Jackass Hill.
Aw. That's not. Oh, he's eager.
Igor.
Iger. Iger. That's another movie.
Is it?
Yeah, like was it Young Frankenstein?
We'll save that for our future movie button mash murder movies.
Okay. All right, let me get into this. Let me
Patent
get into
pending.
this. Okay. So the scene we're setting here is Kingsbury Run.
Sounds very
Kingsbury
Sherlock Holmes. Kingsbury Run.
exactly. That's exactly the type of background that you're gonna imagine here. So if you know anything about Hoovervilles, during the Depression, that was, encampments of people who were unemployed, didn't have housing. Um, this was an area that had a lot of shacks, unemployed people. It was part of a river where bodies would be dumped. Um, It was just a real nasty area. Um, yeah, just like the kind of thing you would think of with, Sherlock Holmes, Ripper type stuff
Yeah.
from England. And this is 1 year later after the discovery of the Lady of the Lake, which we talked about in the first episode. So in September 23rd, 1935, two young boys were walking near the top of Jackass Hill. I know, I was trying not to laugh. Uh, Jackass
I'm such a child.
Hill. Sometimes. So they were just, I'm not going to use their names. They were just tossing a ball back and forth. The ball fell down, and it was a very sharp incline. When they got down to the bottom, the ball went into like a clump of brush, and they saw something white and strange among the branches. And when one little boy went to go get the ball, he, was very upset, and he told the other that there's a dead man with no head down there.
Oh,
Hmm.
okay.
Yeah, and I was saying in another episode, I think that it's just so terrible that a lot of the times, especially in this, it'll be kids that are finding these because they're out playing, they're out walking, and there's been quite a few discoveries by kids, and it's sad. But so the first on the scene was Sergeant Arthur Marsh and Patrolman Arthur Stiff. And they are, and I don't know, it's in quotation, they are a pair of railway bulls hired by the Erie Railroad to police the yard.
This sounds like it's now turning into like a story.
Railway bulls. And I imagine they're, like the kind of like the paddy wagon cops who just kind of
Exactly.
go around with their nightsticks and just slap people around. I kind of imagine that's what we've got here. So they're the first on the scene, and they see the body of the headless man. He's pale white and lying on his side, and he is nude except for a pair of black cotton socks. One report insisted that he had been neatly positioned, but a photo shows that he's in a oddly restful pose, and his arms are gently crossed as if clutching a pillow.
Was he holding anything?
Mm-mm. No,
Oh, okay.
no. Um, they looked around, looking for clues and stuff, and they could see no blood on the body or on the ground. And, they thought that was quite irregular. And they said, a jugular will splatter blood, being headless. If he was, if this act had taken place right there, there would be blood, and there was none. And he looked like he was like entirely drained.
Oh, wow. Like, okay.
Yeah, like bloodless, like completely bloodless. As they examined more closely, they noticed that there was a horrifying slash mark. And along with the beheading, the victim had been castrated.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
and they still don't know if this stuff is happening pre or post mortem.
For the castration, I don't think they know if it was pre or post.
Wow.
We're going to get to the point where we do know that something actually was how they were killed.
Okay.
So we're going to get to that. I don't think they know for sure, but if I'm wrong, we'll see. We'll see. I'll make sure to look to see if I missed it. But yeah, he was putting in a call to the police while the other guy was making another search, and guy number 2 shouts for guy number 1, and he thinks he finds the head, and he said, "No, I found another body."
Really?
Yes. He was looking for the head, and he found body number 2. He uncovered a second male corpse some 30 feet away. Same thing. This poor victim was also missing his head and his genitals. He appeared older than the first, and it was in a more advanced state of decomposition.
Oh,
And
so Murders probably took place at different times, so we dumped them at the same time.
It's very strange. We get to some of the conjectures towards the end of this, and it's just because of the landscape, um, the state of the decomposition, the two different bodies. It's 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 a head scratcher. Yeah. As the sand broke up as he was looking around, just trying to see what else he could find, he found a severed human head. They had more detectives come in, and then while everybody was searching, they found a second severed head a short distance from the first. So I think they had everything except for the unfortunate victims' private parts. So finally, they then did find an assortment of clothing nearby. Some of it was bloodstained. The items were a white shirt and pants, a blue suit coat, underwear, and a checked cap. They also found scattered lengths of rope and a rusty metal pail filled with oily liquid, later identified as motor oil. They speculated at the time that the oil, which was later found to contain traces of blood and hair, might have been brought to the scene as a means of burning the bodies.
Okay.
While they were discussing that theory, there was the last final horrific discovery, and it was the the missing genitals of both of the bodies, and it was very callously and disrespectfully they were in a pile found
Wow.
together, and it's definitely nothing to laugh at. It's very, very, very sad.
So it was very purposeful. Like it was placed there to say, this is the same body parts as this person. He wasn't like using different body parts for different people
Yeah,
to
and
confuse the cops or anything.
yeah, and they didn't make any connection yet to the Lady of the Lake, but if we were sitting there wondering with the Lady of the Lake, like, could this have been an accident? Could they have just dumped her in the water and she washed up? Like, there was no question with this, you know? This this was meant to be on the land.
Yeah.
And I also think it's notable, not interesting, notable that, like, if anybody follows kind of like the psychology of the way victims are left sometimes, a lot of times, like, female victims can be left with um, like things like their skirt up and things like that.
Yeah.
And it's meant to be kind of, disrespectful, to, I don't know, say objectify and bring shame on the
Yes.
victim.
Yeah.
I I I find it very notable that this is a case where this happened with two male victims. And this was a very awkward problem for a bunch of detectives and reporters in the 1930s. You know,
Yeah, I can only imagine. I mean, I'm sure they didn't have the most state-of-the-art tools to handle something like this.
right. And I mean, we're also thinking about how far like criminology and psychology has gotten. And this is not something people are talking about over the dinner table.
Absolutely not.
We've gotten very jaded with what comes up on the news. So, yeah, the news reporters, they're all over the scene and they're kind of in a pickle because they're trying to figure out how they are going to report this news without pushing the limits of propriety with newspapers that families are going to be reading.
Yeah.
So the journalists, some started making references to a murder of passion or love vengeance because they were assuming because of the mutilations that it had something to do with that. Um,
So even though it was multiple people,
mhm.
they That seems strange to me.
Yeah, they were kind of searching for language to use. But um, there was a newspaper called The Plain Dealer that used the phrase as headless and otherwise mutilated. And from there forward, that's kind of like what they were using to report it. Otherwise mutilated. Yeah. All right. So this is when we meet our friend coroner Arthur J. Pierce again. He
So,
reached. Oh,
how long after the lady in the lake does this take place? Like, how long has it been for the coroner?
it's been 1 year. This
Uh,
is 1 year later.
okay.
Hmm. And they didn't have any idea that this was any connection. And in fact, um, before all of this, there had been a murder victim found here that was a torso murder, but they didn't think that it had any connection. So this is a place that bodies are kind of found. Very sad. So 1 year later, coroner Arthur J. Pierce, he is on the scene at about 6 o'clock, around an hour after the initial discovery. So he certifies that they are in fact dead. And when he's studying the remains, he estimates that the first victim has been killed 4 days prior to discovery, and the second one perhaps 3 weeks earlier.
Wow.
Hmm. He says
And
that,
and the second one was the older.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, the condition of the second body, he says, will make identification a challenge, but he's very hopeful with the first victim because we've actually got fingers, we've got their heads, so we've got not only what they look like, but we've got dental records.
Yes.
So there's a lot more to work with evidence wise here. And this is really sad. Um, as evening fell, there were a lot of curious residents of the neighborhood kind of gathering and looking down. Um, and the children of the neighborhood were also there. And, you know, for decades afterwards, they were talking, like as adults, they're talking about it, saying, like I saw the head and, this terrible thing for children to see. So it definitely had an impact on this community, even though they lived near such an area that had this sort of a thing. Like this really stood out. So by 7:30, the remains had arrived at the lakeside morgue, and it was confirmed that the two heads were a match to the bodies. And now we have a different coroner on the scene. His name is Deputy Coroner Wilson Chamberlain.
Do
And
they deputize coroners?
apparently,
Interesting.
I don't know if he had a star. I don't know.
Hmm.
But it does get interesting because they do start to agree and disagree as we move forward. So,
Gotta love a little rivalry between opinions.
yeah, always get a second opinion. He says that the first body is that of and I quote, a handsome man.
Okay.
He's a handsome man. He's 5 foot 11 inches tall, and he weighs about 150 pounds. He has light complexion and brown hair. He has rope burns on the wrists, and then I remember on the scene there had been some bits of rope. So he does have rope burns on his wrist, and that indicates that he had been tied up and struggling at some point before death occurred. And this is pretty horrifying. A heavy, sharp knife had been used to sever the head, leaving clean edges to the skin, indicating a strong, practiced hand. A telltale retraction of the neck muscles, together with an almost total absence of blood in the heart, brought to brought Chamberlain to a chilling verdict that his death resulted from decapitation
Oh,
with a sharp
wow.
instrument. And yeah, he said his conclusion was uncompromising: murder and mutilation, death due to decapitation, and shock, homicide. He reported to the Cleveland News that either a butcher knife or an axe was used to hack off the heads of the two men after their hands had been tied behind their backs.
That's horrible.
Yeah, it could not be said for certain whether they had been conscious at the time of death. Um, but as one detective remarked, that decapitation is not, it's not like as much as a usual method of murder there is, it's not the method. Normally, he observes that the murderer kills by other means, and then afterwards, sometimes they will, remove a head to prevent identification, but it's usually not the way that someone is killed.
Yeah.
He said that, and not that, ooh, this is rough. He said, it's a hell of a job to do that.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like the movies, you know. It, this stuff is, yeah, I don't know. It's rough.
Yeah, to that point, um, and this is the kind of thing that when we sit around and we just talk and chat, like you'll see in like historical films or historical fictions or fantasies, and it'll be like an execution scene or something like that. And you'll see like just this one fell swoop. And when you read through history, it is not like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty horrifying, but it's not that simple of a thing. But let's move on. So the second victim now, he's older, he's stockier, he's roughly 45 years of age and about 165 pounds. He's 5 foot 6 inches tall with brown eyes, very dark hair, and perfect teeth. Again, his decapitation had been precise, but, and this is kind of like a callback to Our Lady of the Lake, his body had been doused in some unknown chemical that had turned the skin a dark oak color.
So not the red, but an oak color.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if they're like
Because it,
2
it was red
different.
before,
Yeah,
right?
they
Was
said
there?
reddish. So I
Yeah,
don't
okay.
know if it's 2 different descriptions of the same phenomena or maybe slightly different
Yeah.
methods, but that was when they started trying to make a connection. At first, they didn't have a connection, but once they started getting the results for chemicals, they were going to start to get there. So Chamberlain estimated that the second victim had been dead anywhere from 7 to 10 days, revising Pearson's findings at the scene. And the lab reports actually said that it could have been as long as 4 weeks. So, where Chamberlain had suggested that an acid might have been used, the lab report drew attention to the bucket of oil and hair found at the scene, saying there's a possibility that the body had been saturated with oil and fire applied. So that's what,
So he
they're
was
thinking at first.
like burned?
That's what they're thinking at first. That maybe the guy had tried to put the oil on him and light him and it didn't work. Um, the decomposition was too far advanced for fingerprints. Um, but they were able to lift a set from the younger man and they got a match.
Really?
They did. Yep.
Yeah, because I know
And
back, I don't remember how long fingerprint has been around, but I mean, you had to build up quite a database to get a match, so
I read ahead and there is just this incredible part of the book where they describe the amount of effort and record keeping that it took to make kind of a semblance of a criminal database
Yeah.
like we have now back then. Yeah, they had fingerprints, and it was the same where if there was somebody who was a known and they'd been booked, they had their fingerprints. And he was identified as 29-year-old Edward Andrassi, and he was very familiar to the neighborhood police. He
I'm
had
guessing petty crimes.
yeah, yeah, he
Maybe flashing, indecent exposure.
well, the next sentence in quotes calls him a snotty punk, known for boozing and brawling.
Boozing and brawling.
Boozing and brawling in the saloons and gambling parlors known as Rowdy Row. I am not making that up. Rowdy
Wow.
Row. He was a punk from Rowdy Row. He had been picked up several times for public drunkenness. Um, he liked to sleep off his benders in a graveyard near the train tracks. And they described him as the type of fellow gives a cop a lot of lip when he's questioned. Once I had to knock him down. That was from a railroad bull.
Wow.
Mm.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
He has to have something for indecent exposure. He sounds like the type. That had to be
Well,
like one charge somewhere.
since you mention it, I was going to skip over it. Since you mention it, I'm not even going to quote it from the book. But he's got a list of things that people say he did. But one of the things they say he did was that he pretended to be a gynecologist.
See, I knew there was something.
Yeah.
There
And
was
that
something pervy about this guy.
he offered to give an exam and fix right up, is the words, his best friend's wife.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure he fixed her right up.
Yeah. I mean, we've got mail fraud, voodoo cult. There's a lot going on here. He's a very colorful fellow. So let's get
And
into Mr.
his were found on the younger person.
Yeah, this is the younger guy.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. It said his livelihood was a mystery, even to his family. The police file had reports also of marijuana trafficking, panhandling. He once served 30 days in a workhouse on a concealed weapons charge.
Hmm.
He was boasting to a friend recently about um, a risky business involving mail fraud, rumors of a voodoo cult, but I mean, I don't know about that. That just seems like some spicy gossip.
You never know.
Yeah. He was described as a worry to his hardworking parents.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, they're described as like really good hardworking people and just, always tearing their hair out.
Yeah, they probably heard the phone ring and okay, what did he do this time?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It says that he had long been idle, refused to look for work, but that's not completely true. He had worked as a bellhop, salesman, a laborer. He'd been an orderly in the psychiatric ward. Mm, yeah, except for he'd been fired and rehired 11 times there. And he ended up intervening in an episode where a patient was lashing out at a nurse there. And that led to romance, and they got married. Um, but within 3 weeks, it became clear that it wasn't going to work out. Um,
Poor guy.
yeah, she got so fed up with him that she knocked him in the forehead with a high heel,
Oh,
and he was also identified by that pockmark in his forehead
did
still.
he meet her with the gyno stuff?
No, 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 no. This was a nurse in the psychiatric ward.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. So 3 weeks into the marriage, she got so fed up with him, she gave him a whopper,
A Whopper. Good
gave him
old
the
Whopper.
chancla. hmm So yeah, let's see. They canvassed the neighborhoods, and so everybody's like, "Yeah, I've got a story about Andrew," or "I've got a story about young Andrassi," but I mean, they didn't really actually come up with anything. Um, So, like, they went deeper and deeper into trying to figure something out. They were looking at, newspapers. They were looking at his names and addresses on his personal effects. Um, let's see. And the tips that were coming in actually were kind of bizarre. One man reported that he found a bloody typewritten note at Jackass Hill, which had instructions for cremating a body. Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah, one guy said that there was an elderly man crouching over the spot at
Did the
times.
did the note say anything about the oil?
No, but I don't think the note was like ever recovered. I think it was just like one of those telephone calls, like I have a tip.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then there were sightings of a green coop, which you know there was really nothing that came up.
And this is what I imagine they did to the fake Gyno. Just started to beat him with sticks.
Yeah, I still haven't even got to that story yet. Yeah, so they're canvassing the neighborhood. They are going to the cheap hotels, rooming houses, pool halls, bars. They are going everywhere. And yeah, the family said that they had last seen him 4 days earlier. And the mom said that he had been afraid to leave home for several days. Uh, let's see. The sister said that he had stabbed an Italian, and now
Mm.
he was afraid of the gang.
I would be too.
It was a mob time. Let's see. What else is coming up? Oh, here we go. The gyno stuff.
Gyno stuff.
Mm-hmm. Threats like this one, not that, the he was going to kill Edward for paying attention to his wife, led the investigators to speculate that the murder might have been a cuckolded husband.
uh,
Yep. Oh my gosh. Apparently he also traded in Spanish fly.
what?
Yeah,
I just got hit by a train because I'm shocked by what you said.
Spanish
Spanish
fly.
fly?
Yeah. There's rumors that he's trading in Spanish fly. Like, that's the aphrodisiac.
Yeah, I didn't
The
know.
Beastie Boys rapped about it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that went right over my head.
Mhm. But that's a rumor. Yeah, apparently they're saying that he dabbled in corn
Dabbled in corn.
cornography.
Oh, I see. I
Corn.
I see what you did there.
Yep.
I see what you did.
Yeah. He had medical books about the treatment of female disorders. Tried to pass himself off as a female doctor. Yep. He offered to go home and get his instruments in order to do a thorough job, claiming that he could fix her within a month so that she could have children.
Oof.
Yep.
Yeah, I highly doubt he was able to accomplish that promise.
Yeah, and it's kind of sad because the book says the ill-treated woman does not appear to have brought charges of any kind, but perhaps it would have been more remarkable if she had, given the unwelcome notoriety that it would have brought and the largely unsympathetic attitudes of the time. So, hopefully, hopefully her husband smacked the guy.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, one can hope. So, at this time, the cops still have nothing. Lots and lots of stories, lots of salacious things, but nothing of real value. So, they're tossing his room and they find a stack of physical culture and muscle, and those are in quotes, muscle magazines, which spark a great deal of hazy speculation. Um, they say our journey will take us into the lower depths of American life, into the very lowest depths, inhabited by prostitutes, pimps, hobos, dwellers of caves and shanties, homosexuals, and the kind of twisted persons that interested Kraft Ebbing. They used the terms pervert and deviant. And because both of the bodies had been castrated, the investigators focused on the role that sex would have played in the crime. So, I mean, the insinuation here is that because he had magazines about like weightlifting and stuff like that, that maybe he would have had a relationship with another man that could have led to something like this happening to him.
Okay.
Yeah. It says that the police believed that the murderer was a sexual pervert, and that made them wonder if Andrassy was one himself. Which is really sad because he's definitely a pervert, but not because he got murdered by a pervert, you know? That's definitely blaming the victim. But I mean, he definitely seems like a guy that's got a lot going on here. But
Yeah, absolutely.
it's not his fault that, you know, some horrible person did what he did to him. We are not for blaming the victim here. But yeah. Ay ay ay. So, how are we doing?
We're past time right now, and
Yeah.
I am very stuck on this part, so I think we can call it a wrap and
Okay.
come find out more about perverts and victims.
Yeah. All right.
Bye everyone.
Bye.